Now, this is not yet another smartphone award video because there are way too many of them on YouTube, and I feel like I might not add any more value by giving out my own awards. But what I definitely do want to talk about are the phones that I particularly enjoyed using this year. The ones that I kept using as my primary phones for more than I expected to. Of course, these are my favorite phones of 2024, and I'll give you my justifications of why I've picked each one of them. This is a very subjective list, and you might or might not agree with what I have to say, which is why I'd love to know your top 3 favorite phones as well. So go ahead in the comments and spam it. Alright, if you're here for the first time, I'm Arshan. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, of course, the first phone that I enjoyed using as my primary device this year has to be the Poco X6 Pro. Now, it's routinely available for under rupees 20,000, and for that price, even at 22,000 rupees, it's a beast of a phone. Firstly, you get excellent performance. You get the 8300 Ultra, which is also fantastic for gaming. The battery life was surprisingly good when I tested it. You get fast charging as well. Plus, the display on this phone is a 120Hz AMOLED panel with extremely slim bezels, and it looks very, very good. And Poco doesn't skimp out on stuff like Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, all of that is available here. There are a couple of reasons why I picked the Poco X6 Pro as one of my favorite phones. Firstly, it has to be the fact that the cameras are not bad. Generally, on budget performance-oriented phones, the cameras take a hit. But with the Poco X6 Pro, they're pretty decent. And secondly, the more expensive Poco F6 might be the choice for a lot of people, but I feel like, well, the difference in performance between the 8300 Ultra and the 8S Gen 3 is not so much that I would want to spend that much more. Plus, I actually enjoyed using the cameras on the Poco X6 Pro than the Poco F6. So yeah, that's why the Poco X6 Pro makes it to the list. My second favorite phone is a slightly more expensive phone, slightly more mid-range category, and a lot more controversial for sure. Yeah, it has to be the Motorola Edge 50 Pro. I know that there were concerns with the phone, like it has UFS 2.2, the camera app was laggy, and the update cycle was slow as well. But for the price that it was launched at, the value is mad. It's absolutely mad. You cannot ignore it. And I generally enjoyed using the phone because the software experience is pretty good too, especially for this price. Hello UI is damn good. And when you look at the hardware, you get IP68 rating, you get a curved display, which is a very well-tuned display, a Pantone validated display no less. And you get super fast 125-watt charging in the higher end variant, of course. You get wireless charging. Now, while this was a very controversial phone, I still want to keep it as one of my favorite phones of 2024. I loved using it. Now, those two phones were, of course, the budget and the mid-range phone that I loved using this year, but most of the other phones in this list are flagship phones. I want to start off by talking about the Xiaomi 14, which unfortunately is not there with me right now, primarily because it was a review unit and Xiaomi picked it back. But for the duration that I had it, I genuinely enjoyed using it. And the main reason for that is the fact that Xiaomi has built a phone, a compact flagship phone that was very premium to hold and use. The in-hand feel was fantastic. The display, of course, is something that Xiaomi takes pride in. With Dolby Vision, HDR, all of that support is there. It's one of the very good displays in this price class. But more importantly, what I enjoyed using on the Xiaomi 14 is that periscope camera. On a compact phone, you get a proper triple camera setup, which is kind of rare, right? I mean, Pixel and Apple don't do it. Of course, HyperOS on flagship phones is a different beast altogether when compared to mid-range phones. So genuinely enjoyed using it on the Xiaomi 14 as well. And the Xiaomi 14 didn't have any compromises in terms of flagship features because you got IP rating, you got wireless charging, you got all of it. The only concern that I had with the 14 was the battery life wasn't as good as the kind of battery life that we got with other flagship phones, compact flagship phones in this price class, but still, great phone, deserves to be one of my favorites of 2024. Now, while the Xiaomi 14 was a phone that had the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, the one phone that I enjoyed using was the iQOO 13. Of course, the iQOO 13 when compared to the iQOO 12 has a lot of upgrades, including the fact that it has IP69 rating and the fact that iQOO also upgraded the Type-C port because it's now a Type-C Gen 3.2 port. Of course, the display is fantastic, the battery life is pretty good, and the charging speeds are good too. But the most important thing about the iQOO 13 and the reason why I enjoyed using it is the Snapdragon 8 Elite inside it. Currently, the iQOO 13 is my gaming phone of choice, despite the fact that the iPhone definitely has more AAA titles. If I am playing something like, say, Grid Legends or Genshin Impact or, Call of Duty Warzone, then I prefer using the iQOO 13 now. But I must definitely say that FunTouch OS is the only thorn in that wonderful bouquet because I still feel that FunTouch OS is not a flagship grade software experience. Talking about FunTouch OS, how can we forget the Vivo X200 Pro? Of course, while FunTouchOS has improved, it's still not the best software experience, even on the Vivo X200 Pro. But what the X200 Pro brings to the table is a fantastic, mind-blowing camera experience. The best part about the X200 Pro is the fact that it has the X100 Ultra's telephoto camera, which is that 3.7x 200 MP HP9 sensor, which is a fantastic sensor. The kind of, natural bokeh that you get is so good that you don't need to even use the portrait mode. Moreover, you get that fantastic telemacro. It is one of those cameras that you cannot live without. You love so much, despite the fact that it has not a very premium software experience. You want to keep using this hardware. And the good thing about the Vivo X200 Pro is that fantastic battery life. Currently, in our testing here at Trakin Tech, it is the best battery life on a smartphone that we've tested, flagship smartphone that we've tested till date. So the Vivo X200 Pro deserves to be in this list for sure. Now, how can a list of my favorite phones of 2024 be complete without me talking about this one, this beast, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra? And to think of it, the S24 Ultra was launched at the start of the year, and till the end, a lot of tech YouTubers, your favorite tech YouTubers, are still using it. My good friend Sachit is a fan of this phone so much so that when he lost it, he actually bought a new one. So yeah, I enjoyed using this as well. One of the main reasons why I enjoyed it is purely because of that anti-reflective coating that it has on that display. It is a game changer on a smartphone display. But here's the thing that you need to know about the S24 Ultra. It doesn't have the best display. It doesn't have the best battery performance. It definitely doesn't have the best charging speeds. It doesn't even have the best overall performance on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 phone. In fact, it doesn't even have the best cameras. Then how the hell did it make to this list? It's because it's the sum of all that parts put together makes it an overall balanced phone. And all of this is tied together by excellent software. One UI 6 is awesome, and the fact that you get Galaxy AI, which is genuinely useful, and a lot of people are using it as well. But more importantly, of course, One UI 7 is going to be even more fantastic. So yeah, the S24 Ultra had to be in this list. Now, the last but second phone that I'm going to choose is also going to be a bit of a shocker for you. You've probably been seeing this throughout the video. It is the OnePlus Open Apex Edition. You must be like, hey Aisha, the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro launched. How can you even choose the OnePlus Open now, which is a last tier phone? Well, let me explain this to you. How do I put this? I'm not a fan of foldables. I'm not enjoying the foldable experience as much as I thought I would. I actually like candy bar phones, and I prefer them because they're not as bulky as foldables. More importantly, I feel like I don't really open up the phone as much as I thought I would. I'm genuinely using the outer panel mode. Whether it is the Vivo or the OnePlus, it's true for both of the phones. And both of these phones have the best outer panel displays in the industry right now because they're wide enough to feel and be used as a candy bar. While I understand the multitasking use cases, I feel like for content consumption, especially if you're watching videos, the inner display is definitely not usable because the aspect ratio is not wide. Now you must be wondering, Eshat, I thought you were going to talk about the good things about the OnePlus Open. Yeah, well, I'll tell you that. The reason why I chose the OnePlus Open even today is primarily because it excels compared to the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro in the software experience. Now with OxygenOS 15 and the features like Open Canvas that are available on OnePlus Open, I feel like the software experience is definitely better than what FunTouch offers on the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. That's the only reason why somebody might want to use a foldable, is because the multitasking experience has to be fantastic. Cameras are going to be subpar compared to candy bar phones. The performance is going to be subpar compared to candy bar phones. So the software experience is the most important one, and that is why I went with, again, the OnePlus Open Apex Edition, which, by the way, OnePlus Open is a phone that I used for 2 months. That's 2 months more than any other foldable that I've used in my lifetime. And my final favorite phone of 2024 is the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I know a lot of people who know me will be like, hey, is that Airshot? Did somebody beat him on his head last night? What's wrong with him? That is why I had to make this list of my favorite phones of 2024, because your favorite doesn't have to be the best. It's just a phone that you enjoyed using. The experience of using it was something that you loved. And the Pixel 9 Pro XL is exactly that. And it starts with the industrial design of the phone. It is the best design on a candy bar flagship phone in 2024, period, according to me at least. You know, compared to something like the iPhone or Samsung, Pixel does it way better. Very subtle curves, very good in-hand feel. Despite being a big phone, it just feels so good. Sometimes it's just the fact that I'm holding a very premium, very jewel-like phone in my hand and it feels so good is one reason why I loved using the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And the second reason why I loved using the Pixel 9 Pro XL is something that I never thought I'd say, is the AI experience. Because with Gemini Advanced, what was happening is that I was using it to pull out information from across the G Suite of apps that I use every single day. From Keep, from Docs, from Sheets, every single one, even Gmail for that matter. And Pixel's very own AI imaging tools, like for example, the new Add Me, is something that I genuinely used. This is the best AI phone for me, despite the fact that Galaxy AI is also great. I felt like it was more usable, it was more functional. And the battery life has been fantastic. The display is excellent too. It can get really, really bright, by the way. Having said that, Tensor is still a joke, and Google really needs to fix that. Imagine if the Pixel 9 Pro XL had the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Just imagine, because you can only imagine, because Google's not gonna get it. Alright. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, Esha, there's no iPhone here. Yeah, there's no iPhone 16 Pro Max here, because while it's a fantastic phone, while I'm having a great battery life experience with it, the display is fantastic, the performance is incredible, there are AAA titles, all of that is there. iOS 18 has been a bit of a bummer this year. While there are really useful additions to iOS in terms of the fact that you can move the icons wherever you want to. So I generally use the iPhone for at least a month as my primary device. This time around, it's been my secondary phone for the longest time. I use the Apple Watch and I have the iPhone as my secondary phone, and the Android flagship continues to be my primary. So yeah, that's what it is this year. Alright, so these were my favorite phones of 2024. I'm looking forward to a fantastic 2025. And the purpose of this video is twofold. One, to let you guys know what my favorites were, obviously. And two, to let you guys know that we actually test all of the devices that we get in our office extensively. Even if I'm not testing it, there is a team that's doing all of the work. Do you want to take a wild guess at the number of phones that we've tested here at Trakin Tech? Let me know in the comments what that number would be according to you. Maybe after a couple of days, we'll add a pinned comment on what that number actually was. Alright, so that's it from me for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.